These people that post pictures of their dinner, I always hate that. It's like,
oh yeah,
who cares what you're having for dinner? Unless
morning
you're offering,
latte, selfie.
Oh, unless you're offering to share it with me, I don't care. 2025 was a rough year. My wife and I had some difficulties, and we got separated for a while. And as a pastor, that was not only am I potentially going to lose my marriage, am I going to potentially lose my ministry as well. This certain kind of coffee that is the most expensive coffee in the world. And the reason it's the most expensive...
it comes out of cats' butts, right?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes. It is.
Yeah.
It's this jungle cat that eats the coffee beans. They pass through the animal's intestinal system. No, it's cat poop. They collect the cat poop, and then they make this coffee. I'm sorry, it's one of the greatest lies in American culture.
I've been thinking about the spiritual butterfly effect. Not only will we never truly see all of the things that God has set in place for us to be here now, but we will never fully understand the impact, however small or big, that our words or our experiences shared here will have on whoever, right?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Keith Harris.
My name is Logan Harris.
I am 48 years old.
I'm 21 years old.
I've been married for 27 years.
I've been married for 0, but engaged.
I've been a father for 23 years.
I have been a son for 21.
I have been a pastor for 25 plus years.
I was a pastor for 3.
I've been riding motorcycles for about 30 years.
I've been riding motorcycles for 5 years.
I've been a gamer since I was a kid.
I've been a gamer since I was a kid.
I've been a football coach for 10 years and calling football on the radio for 5 years.
I played football for 1 year in high school, and I hated it. It was terrible. Literally, I don't know what inspired me to just be like, hey, Dad, I want to try this. But freshman year, I decided to play football. And as if moving to a different state wasn't hard enough for teenage Logan, I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, your mom always made me promise that I wouldn't I wouldn't try to live my life through you. And so I did. I promised that I wouldn't try to force you into sports or football or anything like that, even though your freshman year, you were like the strongest kid on the team. And the coach came up to me and he was like, please make him come back. And I was like, man, I don't know why he picked it this year.
I was given the perfect physical strength, but the wrong personality. I don't have an aggressive bone in my body.
You don't. You
really sometimes don't. When I'm at supermarket or something, this is just a glimpse into how non-football-y I am. I'm desperately looking for an ingredient. I need chili paste or something, and I can't find it. And I've been looking for 20 minutes. And a Walmart guy will come up to me and be like, "Hey, sir, do you need help finding anything?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. Just looking around. Thanks." That's how non-confrontational I try to be.
You won't even put him out to
No,
tell
it's
you
too
where
much.
the
I can't
thing is.
burden him. He works at Walmart.
My problems aren't his problems.
No.
So here we are. We're starting a brand new podcast, the two of us, father and son, which is really kind of the strangest thing in the world, because you wouldn't think that the two of us would be doing this.
It's definitely out of the norm. I feel like most sons and their fathers' relationships I talk to are either almost non-existent or so non-friendship oriented. They couldn't really pull something like this off, I don't think.
Right. Well, maybe not at this stage in life, maybe later. It's a little bit of a unique situation, but the idea of us doing a podcast in the first place, considering I've never really been much of a podcaster. I mean,
when you first called, you called me after work and you were like, hey, I got this crazy idea. I think I'm going to start a podcast. And I was like, I've tried to recommend podcasts to you before. And you've never liked them. It was definitely out of the blue.
Well, it's the whole idea that why would anyone care what I have to say? I've always been anti-social media. These people that post pictures of their dinner, I always hate that. It's like,
oh yeah,
who cares what you're having for dinner? Unless
morning
you're offering,
latte, selfie.
Oh, unless you're offering to share it with me, I don't care. I'm going to sit here and eat my ramen noodles. You can take your steak and whatever pate and just who cares, right? And yet, listening to podcasts, or you would recommend something, I'd go and I'd check it out. And after about 5 minutes, I'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever. And here recently, I've started listening to a few more. I've listened to a few episodes of We Were Spacemen. That's Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk.
Oh, I was gonna say ex-ISS astronauts or something because that
No,
sounds sick.
no, they're Captain Reynolds and Wash from Firefly.
Right.
And so, yeah, they've become friends over the years, and now they're doing a podcast where they're talking about the behind the scenes stuff, and they're funny. So I've enjoyed that. I've listened. Brandon recommended that I listen to a podcast called UPD, which stands for Untrained Philosophical Discussionists. To just regular guys that are talking about being Christian men. So I've consumed some of those. And then I kind of stumbled upon one that I've really enjoyed. It's the Live Free podcast with Josh Howerton. You remember those stories I told you about? We used to go down to Lake Point and we learned how to do life groups from them.
No, I don't. I remember a big life group change, like a change in the way we do all that.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember where that came from.
Yeah, we learned that from Lake Point Church in Dallas, Texas. They're a mega church down there with 6 or 7 campuses. He's the new pastor. He stepped in when Steve Stroop stepped down. So I've enjoyed his podcast because he does all the things that I don't want to touch, all the biblical response to the current events, and I'm glad he does a fantastic job, and I'm glad he's doing it so we don't have to. When I first asked you about it, I remember I think I texted you, "Hey, I've got a proposal for you." Do you remember what your response was?
Can you blame me for thinking that you were going to give me your truck? I thought it was coming. 2 of the vehicles that I own they used to be yours, so I figured it was time. It was fate.
Yeah, I texted you. I said, "Hey, I've got a proposal for you," and you texted me back. You said, "Are you giving me your truck?" I was like, "No, why?" And you said, "Well, the last time you started a conversation with that, I was upgrading my motorcycle, but I knew that my motorcycle was an upgrade for you. So I was like, hey, I'm going to give you my motorcycle. You're going to give me your current motorcycle, which I'm going to turn around and sell to help buy my new motorcycle."
Well,
so
that day break time came around and I checked my phone and I saw that text and I thought, my time has come.
yeah. You're not getting my truck, buddy.
No, I'm going to pry your skeleton, your rotting bones out of that driver's seat before
I'm driving that truck till it or I die.
Yeah, most definitely. I don't blame you.
So, but yeah, 2025 was a rough year. My wife and I had some difficulties, and we got separated for a while. And as a pastor, that was not only am I potentially going to lose my marriage, am I going to potentially lose my ministry as well? And so, did a lot of soul searching, and I went down to see my sister. Both my sisters, but one of them said something to me that really kind of stuck with me, that kind of started me on this journey. She said, because I was telling her, I said, who am I without my job, really? But I was looking at it from a position of calling. I said, if I can't fulfill my calling, then who am I really? And she said something to me. She said, Keith, your calling is more than your profession. Your calling is more valuable, is more important than the job that you do. And so that was the thing that really kind of opened up my eyes to, if something didn't happen, thankfully through God's miracles, my wife and I were back together and we're doing well. But it really kind of sent me on a journey about calling.
She said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
We used to meet pretty regularly when I was a youth pastor, because she was a youth director for so many years.
Yeah, she was your youth director when you were in high school. Yeah,
right. And when I first started talking about moving to Utah, I was from Rifle, which was where I was serving as a youth pastor. I wouldn't be doing that anymore, and I was in a similar headspace where I was like, but what am I gonna do? I feel like I'm leaving my calling, right? That's kind of how I felt. She said, your calling is to make disciples, and if it's for teenagers, your calling is more than the job you have.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in the process of discovering that, and I want to share this verse with you.
Are we gonna have scripture every episode? I hope we do.
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
I've got scripture built into every episode, because I think everything that we do, whether we're doing things with our family, whether we're doing things just for fun or for our profession, that we need to let faith permeate every aspect of our life. So I want to share this. This is Ephesians chapter 4, 1-4. It says, "Therefore I, a prisoner for serving the Lord, beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling. For you have been called by God, always humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together with peace. For there is one body and one Spirit, just as you have been called to one glorious hope for the future." And so taking that in, seeing it's like the calling is so much more than just one job title. It's so much more than just one church or one position. And then at the same time, you've got you and Brandon telling me, "Hey, you should go listen to this podcast and you should go do." And I thought, okay, well, I'm trying this thing out. And it was as if there was a moment where God said, "Okay, this is an avenue for you to exercise your calling in a way that helps promote being unified in spirit, in humbleness and in gentleness, um, to share not only the calling, the giftings that I've given to you, but the experiences I've given to you." We come from we're in a unique situation. Like you said earlier, father and son at this stage having the relationship that we do is not normal.
I know it's not normal.
Yeah, and we have a unique mixing of interests. I mean, we're bikers out there riding cruisers, and yet we're complete and total nerds.
Yeah, tabletop games, card
Yeah.
games. You don't play video games, but I play video games.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it's one of those things where, like, okay, we've got maybe having a unique voice that might be something that helps, and if it helps somebody, that's awesome. And so it was as if God was saying, "Okay, here's something that you can do. Here's something that you can do that can fulfill your calling, but not be tied to a job or a title."
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right. I kind of ran from it for a little bit. At the time, my confidence was a little shaken, and I've had some struggles, and whenever a pastor gets separated, you get the rumor mill in the church, and some people that believe what they want to believe. And so I kind of ran from it. I was like, no, that's not for me. I'm not the social media guy, and I don't really think anybody would care what I have to say.
Mhm.
Right? I learned there's a name for it. It's called imposter syndrome, where it's like I don't feel like I'm not an expert in any field. I'm not a seminary trained, or as a friend of mine used to call it, cemetery trained.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because seminary is not fun at all.
well, he used to say, he was a pastor friend of mine, but he said, "Yeah, I never went to cemetery." I heard him say that several times, and one time I asked him, I said, "Are you saying that on purpose, or is that just a slip of the tongue?" And he goes, "Oh no, I'm saying it on purpose." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Well, seminary is where good pastors go to die." I was just like, "Whoa."
Hot
Okay.
take.
Yeah. I said somebody didn't get hugged enough as a child or something.
We got to get him on the podcast ASAP.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think he's one of those
Controversial.
homegrown guys that just got tired of the other guys, giving him a hard time for not having gone to seminary or whatever. But yeah, okay. What are we going to have to share of value? But if we feel like God is telling us to do this, then we're not going to know exactly what value it's going to have. We're just going to be obedient, and we're just going to run with it.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the spiritual butterfly effect. Not only will we never truly see all of the things that God has set in place for us to be here now, but we will never fully understand the impact, however small or big, that our words or our experiences shared here will have on whoever, right? And I mean, when you first presented the idea of the podcast to me, I was really excited. I like podcasts. Since I moved to Utah, I've started this welding job, and they're long hours, right? And I'm by myself, which is something that's I've never had a job where obviously I'm not in a room alone, but I'm doing all the work by myself, right? That comes in. And so I'm one of those people where I talk to myself a lot, and I have to entertain myself in some way. It's just busy up here in my brain all the time. And
What does your
so,
mom say? Why does she talk to herself? Sometimes she needs expert advice.
oh my gosh, yeah, I need expert advice. Heard that joke.
Yeah.
But I got into podcasts. There are a few that I like. I was actually trying to find a new one today. I realized one that I really like. It had, when I first started listening to it, it had like 300 episodes. I was like, great, this is amazing. And then today I was listening to it while I was welding, and it just stopped. And I was like, what happened? I didn't pause it. Is it buffering? And I looked, and there are just no more episodes. I listened to every single one already. And I was like, I got sad. I got real sad. And so I was trying to find a new one today. I've always been into it. It's better than social media.
Yeah, it's better than some of the alternatives.
Yeah,
the scrolling.
Exactly. And there have been times before. Thank goodness for welding hoods, because I have cried laughing at a podcast before. Literally, I'm sitting there trying to run a bead, and I have to stop because my shoulders are going like this underneath my welding hood, and I'm like weeping. And I think they're great.
Yeah.
And I'm also always doing something. I don't really ever just sit down and actually watch a video like it's a TV screen, but I like them a lot. I think that's cool. I think that maybe you might have a hidden motive behind wanting me as your co-host.
Well, yeah. I mean, so when I told you about the podcast, I was thinking, okay, this is just something that I'm committing to, and boy, I have no idea what I'm doing. I was like, okay, God, you said go, so I'll go. You know, I think sometimes people say, show me and I'll go, but I think God is always saying, go and I'll show you. So I was like, okay, I'm committed. I'm doing this, and I started doing some research, and in some of the research I found, a couple things. Number one, I found that there's like 5.4 million podcasts in the world today.
So many, as of like the last 5 years.
Yeah. And
so many podcasts. Yeah.
So at first that was kind of discouraging. I was like, well, who's really going to care about us? And then I saw that of those 5.4 million, only 10% of them are considered active. So like you were saying, they're not putting out new material. So they haven't put out anything new within the last year. So we're down to 540,000. And then I continue to learn that of those, only 10% of those have more than 3 episodes. So you're down to like 54,000 podcasts that are active and actually producing things. And then I looked a little deeper, and you're thinking, boy, how many of these are business related? They're trying to sell something. And so the more I looked into it, the more I saw, okay, there is a niche out there for what God has been telling me to do, and say, okay, how do we apply faith to our family and the fun things that we do? It's going to be lighthearted. It's going to be fun. We're going to look at things like, motorcycling, and we're going to look at gaming. We're going to look at, dealing with in-laws and family relationships. And I thought, okay, I can talk about those things. But as I continue to research, they said, well, in order to have a better connection with your audience, it would be a good idea if you brought on a regular co-host. And they started talking about what the regular co-host would have. And they gave me this list. Number one, somebody that you have experience and chemistry with. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. The second thing, they said someone who has similar interests. I was like, okay, I'm starting to think, yeah, that would be Logan. Mm-hmm. Logan likes to play the games that I like to play. He likes to ride motorcycles the way I do, and we've got lots of history. I've known him his whole life. I've
known you for almost half of yours.
Yeah, pretty close.
That's pretty good.
Pretty close. What you were? I was 26, 27 when you were born. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, 20, at least the years where I wasn't a complete knucklehead. So it's like, yeah, that's Logan. And then they said, okay, somebody who comes from a different perspective. And I was like, okay, yeah, that can be important because, it's not just from one perspective. So you come from a different generation. You see the world differently than I do. Despite what your mom says, she tries to tell us, when you were the last kid living at home and the two of us were there, she felt ganged up on. She's like, oh, well, you and Logan share a brain. It's like, no, we're just both guys and you're the only girl, and we're going to think similarly.
Well, and to some degree, it just doesn't matter how the dishwasher gets loaded. I'm going to say that.
Right.
Hot take, it just doesn't. If you miss one cup, like you're not using ideally all the, it's fine. Yeah. It's okay.
The little plate can go on the top rack. It's all right.
It's okay. Sometimes I'll stick silverware in the top rack. You got to do what you got to do.
don't see. Okay, different perspective. Does the silverware go? Do you sort it when you put it in the dishwasher, or do you sort it when you put it away in the drawer?
Sort it when you put it in the dishwasher.
Shut up. That is so stupid. No, you don't.
It's so convenient. Tray comes out of the dishwasher.
Okay. Like I said,
goes in the drawer.
Someone who has a different perspective, even if they're wrong, and that's okay.
Problem.
All right. Someone who's not afraid to oppose you was the number 4. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's Logan. That's Logan. That's really Logan. And then the last one was someone who's got like an X factor, charisma, or is a little quirky, or is just downright weird. And I'm going through this list, going, yeah, that's Logan. That's Logan. Yeah, that's Logan twice on Sundays. Right? It's like, yeah, that is absolutely my son. And
if you know who I am, I'm not self-aware to it. I just it's not a phase. It's
right.
who I am.
Yeah, you're not growing out of this.
Yeah,
right.
That's something that students used to say all the time. It was a big joke. It was like, it's not a phase, Mom. It's a lifestyle. Oh, gosh.
But I knew that you were busy. You're working a lot of hours. You're engaged. You're planning a wedding. You're trying to live your best adult single life out on your own.
Well, even just having my fiance live 10 minutes from me, man, you got to block out time. You got to sit down and work that out. Because man, being medium distance before, like a 5-hour drive, it's you can plan on every other weekend. But right. Yeah, here it's like, yeah, I'll just follow you home, and I'm like, well, no, maybe I could have tonight alone tonight. And she's like, she gets all sad, and it's so hard.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I tell people, marriage amplifies things.
Yeah.
The good things get better, but the annoying things get worse.
Become nails on a chalkboard all the time.
If she's bothered by the way you chew now, she will be plotting your death after you guys get married.
She told me the other day, she goes, she was like, I really don't care for the way you drive. And I was like, oh, you don't? I feel like that's going to not have a fun conclusion, but.
Yeah. Is it just too fast because you're driving the Camaro?
Well,
or what?
Here's the thing. If I drive aggressively to, like, if we're in traffic and I need to switch lanes really quick or something, I drive aggressively, and it's a Camaro, right? So it can get up and go really quick. She's like, can you, like, you're giving me a headache because the car is moving too fast. I'm like, okay, you're right. And then I drive really smooth. I take my time in turns. I shift nicely, and it takes us longer to get where we're going. And she's like, please, we're almost late. Can you please, like, you got to be a little more aggressive, Logan. And I was like, and I told her that. I said, so which do you want? And she looked at me and she goes, oh.
Yeah.
She was like, I guess I did ask you for two opposite things, didn't I? I said,
welcome
yes, you did.
To the average marriage relationship in America.
Yeah.
That never changes, dude.
And I'm real anal about it too. She's like, come on, we gotta go. And I'm like, the motor's not warmed up yet. I don't want to hurt it.
It's a Camaro SS. You gotta give it some time to
gotta let the oil get in there, man.
So here we are. We're going on this journey, and we've decided to do this podcast. And we had to come up with a name. We had to come up with a format. The name was, man, it is hard to come up with a name. It is hard to think about, something that represents what we're trying to do, but isn't already taken or isn't too hard to remember, or isn't just flat out ridiculous. And man, I went through all kinds of things. I know that I want to focus on 3 things. We want to focus on faith, family, and fun. And so I was thinking, okay, triple F.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, triple F is a little weird.
Yeah, well, and it's like there's already so many other organizations that have that, and so I was trying to come up with variations. And at one point, I even had the ridiculous idea. My nickname in our motorcycle group is Chewy, because I'm a big Star Wars fan and hairy guy. And so I thought, I'll call it Chewin' the Fat, but I'll spell it like Chewy and Chewin' the Fat. And
I'm very glad you didn't go with that.
I know, right? Nobody would ever find it because there's no way they could spell it right. Even the first time I ordered my road tag for my vest, it came back as CHEWY. because I told him I wanted
Yeah.
to say chewy,
Like
and I'm like, no, not like the nougat.
Yeah.
think big hairy Wookie, not not the center of a Tootsie Pop.
Oh, that's too good. Well, we even threw on names like like one that I thought of was Behind the Pulpit. But then that
Yeah.
makes it seem more like a podcast that's just about the woes of preaching sermons.
Right.
It doesn't really encapsulate the whole goal of what we were trying to do. And
Yeah.
I like the name that we landed on. Sundays and Side Quests encompasses all of the casualness of our podcast.
Yeah. And if you're a gamer of any kind, side quests, you immediately know what we're talking about. Yeah,
definitely.
It's not the main storyline. It's the stuff you do if you want to get 100% completion, or it's the fun, goofy stuff on the side. And so where we landed is good. I did find out that as soon as I started our YouTube channel, I found another one that was called Sunday Side Quests. So not Sundays and side quests, but Sunday Side Quests, and it's like some guys on four-wheelers and side-by-sides doing stuff. But so I apologize. I did Google Sundays and Side Quests, and I didn't find anything at the time. But if you're running that YouTube channel, I didn't steal it from you intentionally. So yeah, we're going to be releasing episodes on basically every 10 days. On the 10th of every month, we're going to release an episode that's focused on our faith and church life. And on the 20th of every month, we're going to release an episode that's focused on family life. And then on the 30th of every month, we're going to release an episode that's focused on the fun stuff. My
personal favorite. I've got lots of ideas for fun episodes cooking up in this little brain of mine.
Yeah,
for sure. And the thing too is that we're not trying to be like you were talking about stealing, titles and stuff. We're not trying to make money. We're not trying to build a brand. Yeah. We're not doing this for monetization or anything. Yeah. This is for us, and this is for those that we can invite on for open dialogue and for anyone that appreciates that.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, it's your, the next step in your calling, your purpose. I'm here for that, and I'm looking forward to that. But we're not trying to, break your wallet.
Yeah, and I would even say this. I hate podcasts that have ads built in, or in the middle of the conversation I got to talk about my sponsor. That's fine for everybody else to do that. And if you're a podcaster and you're out doing that, man, no judgment here. However you want to do it, that's just not the way I've been called to do it. So
yeah, it's the unfortunate reality of content creation without a company is that you make very little money to maintain the thing you're doing based off just numbers alone, and you have to substitute advertising in there when you're immersed in a podcast, and then all of a sudden it's like, this podcast is sponsored by Venmo, and you're like, okay, great.
Or they start talking about some product that that they don't really care about.
Yeah, which is funny because you grew up in a generation where every 10 minutes of TV was accompanied with 5 minutes of commercials.
Oh yeah, and you get used to tuning them out and everything. Yeah. So.
But now it's like 60 seconds of ad for 1 hour of podcast, and we're like, gosh darn it, these darn companies and these big corporations. And
I don't know that you can make a case that it was worse in my day than it is today. But
no way.
But good try.
It totally was. I remember staying up till 2 a.m. as a 10-year-old watching Nick at Night. Man, those commercials, they got after you.
Yeah. I'm not going to beg people to like and subscribe. We're not going to make a big deal about monetization. We are going to have a Patreon page where...
Yeah, if you want to support us, you totally can. We would
If you want to help us just cover the cost of the equipment and the editing software and stuff like that, that's great. But that's not going to be the focus of what we do. It's just not why we're doing it. We're just going to keep cracking on and do it for the fun. And if you want to come along and join us on the journey, then that's fantastic. We'd love to have you. We've talked about having like a little gimmick in our show, a little something fun. We're gonna do a pop culture reference of the day, because so much of how we talk, I remember my parents used to tell my wife and I that half of our conversations were movie lines and movie quotes, because we're big movie buffs. In each episode, we'll give you a pop culture reference of the day. And if you can be the first one to go to our Patreon page and tell us where that comes from, we'll send you a Nog Mug or something like that.
Sorry?
A Nog Mug. You don't know what a Nog Mug is?
Well, I think you might need to explain that.
It's a lot like a coffee mug, but since I think coffee is disgusting, I only drink eggnog out of it. So
you can't say that. You can't say coffee's gross. Half of our viewership just dropped as you said that.
I'm sorry, but that is one of the biggest lies in American culture today, that you can take dirty bean water and say that it's delicious.
That's
it's
true.
Bitter. It's nasty.
You're running hot water through dead plants.
You are.
That's not okay.
And especially, I mean, it gets worse. I mean, people do weird things. Do you remember? There's a movie out there where they reference. Okay, this will be our pop culture reference of the day for this episode.
And I probably won't get it.
And you probably won't get it. There's a movie out there where they talk about this certain kind of coffee that is the most expensive coffee in the world, and the reason it's the most.
Oh yeah,
expensive,
it comes out of cats' butts, right?
Yes,
is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's this jungle cat that eats the coffee beans. They say that the coffee grounds they pass through the animal's intestinal system. No, it's cat poop. The cats eat the beans, they collect the cat poop, and then they make this coffee, and then you're supposed to pour hot water through this stuff, and it's supposed to be the best coffee ever. I'm sorry, it's one of the greatest lies in American culture, kind of like Mick Jagger can sing and Kevin Costner can act, and we all know it's not true.
Yeah,
and yet we've all just decided collectively as a society to follow along with it, and I'm just not all about that. I'm just not going to do it.
How do you get that job? How do you become the cat poop coffee guy? Like, where do I sign up? You know what I mean?
No,
because you know that there's like 4 people on the planet ever that do that right now. Like, it's not a high demand job. How do you find yourself there in your life choices?
See, I want to know who's the guy that thought, I know that these cats eat a lot of coffee beans. I wonder what it would taste like if I strain water through their crap. Who's the first guy that came up with that idea?
No,
who was the first guy that got sold on it that was like, yeah, we should try that?
I can tell you exactly what happened. He got home from his 9 to 5 and he set his briefcase on the counter and he took a big sigh and went, I have to clean the cat's litter box today. And as he's cleaning, he's scooping and he notices half of a coffee bean still sticking out of the turd. And he goes, and the rest was history.
Bulb.
Yeah, the rest was history. Now he's a millionaire and we're here trying to make a podcast. So what does that say?
Yeah, we're not doing that. But
yeah.
So if you can identify the pop culture reference of the day, today is what's the movie that introduced this, cat poop coffee? Yeah. We'll send you one of our Nog mugs. It's a coffee mug that is great for sipping eggnog, and I'm talking real eggnog. We're talking straight, uncut, no milk. A mug is a perfect size because you don't want to drink more than that of nog at any one sitting, and you kind of sip on it.
Cardiac failure.
You'll die. we're just gonna have some fun with it. So
actually, no other drink fits in it. It has a strainer at the top that's designed where only eggnog comes through the top.
Not true, sir. Not true. See, since eggnog is only available around Christmas season, the only acceptable substitute in the Nog mug is whole chocolate milk. You can do chocolate milk in the Nog mug.
That's super valid.
In the off seasons.
Yeah, I think you would commit a multitude of felonies to acquire some chocolate milk. I've heard the stories.
Man, chocolate milk. Have you ever seen Richard make fun of me?
All the time, yes, but be more specific.
Well, in this particular case, he makes fun of me because we'll go to a restaurant for breakfast. He's one of my accountability partners. We'll go to a restaurant, me and him and Lenny, and we'll ride up on our Harleys and my Indian, and we're all dressed in our leathers. And we go in there, and they're like, coffee black, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, and for you, sir, I'm like, chocolate milk. He just looks at me like,
and what they hear is,
what
they hear is, can I have some chocolate milk? That's exactly what they hear, and they see the little spindly hat on.
Can I have some chocolate milk?
Yeah. Can I have a big glass of chocolate milk?
Whatever. I'm secure in who I am.
And then you go, and the weirdest part is you go afterwards, you go, and then the steak. I'll have the steak.
Yeah. Steak and eggs, and with the chocolate milk. Yes. So yeah, our hope with this podcast is that you have a little bit of fun with us, that you learn a little bit. One of the things both of us, as serving as pastors, you as a youth pastor for 3 years, and me as a lead pastor for 25 years. And one of the things we've both heard, compliment that I get most often is you have the ability to take the things that are difficult and hard to understand and explain them in a way that me, an average Joe, can wrap my head around.
Right.
And so I tell them, I say, well, that's just because I have to that's how I have to wrap my head around it, because I'm an average Joe with an unaverage calling. And so that's what we want to do. We just want to help people say, okay, how do we take things of faith and how do we incorporate them into the rest of our lives in a way that makes sense and in a way that we can have fun doing it.
Yeah, because that's the thing too, is that Sunday morning sermons are, I mean, the whole Sunday morning experience it's for new people. It's for people that aren't theologians. They haven't been to seminary. So you go over gospel things and you go over the life of Jesus and you go over Old Testament wisdom that we can glean from it, right? It's designed so that people that are, a young couple that's just walking through the doors that's never been to a church before, or someone who's coming back that has X'd out Christianity from their life, they can come back and hear gospel truth put simply. But here it's like we're not behind a pulpit. And I feel like that there's a lot of, you definitely know this. There's a reason why you still get nervous every Sunday, even though you've been doing it for so long. It's because there's a weight to preaching God's word. There's a weight to delivering that, and there's a weight to making sure that your heart is prepared to speak the truth and nothing from you. Like your opinion should not infiltrate, unless you preface it right. You have to be very careful about this is my opinion, this is God's truth, right? But here I'm not on stage. I'm in my dorm room,
right?
And I feel like I can share my opinion and my experience, and I hope for you and for the guests we have on, we can do the same thing, and it's not. We can be a lot more real that way, I think.
Yeah. Real and raw.
Real is a danger. I don't want to say that we're not being real on the stage, right? But raw is a better word for it.
That implies that we're living double lives, and we're we're one person while we're preaching, and then we're a different person completely, and that's not the case. But you do censor yourself. There's certain things that I would never say from the pulpit that I would say in conversation, especially with somebody who's a friend of mine, and I think that's one of the things I'm hoping for in this is we do get a chance to be more, well, I guess a way to say it is less diplomatic,
right?
Less worried that we're going to offend someone, because quite frankly, if you don't like our podcast, if you don't want to listen to us, turn it off. You want to make a negative comment on YouTube before you go? That's great, because YouTube doesn't care. It's interaction. We'll take it. But I mean, if you don't like it, turn it off and don't come back. And that's okay, because we're not doing it for that.
Y'all can pour your black coffee in whatever mug you want, you
That's
losers.
Right. That's right. Right.
It's terrible.
So yeah, we're here to have some fun. We're here to have some interesting conversations, and we hope that you'll come along and join us.
If you want to support us, of course, monetarily, the Patreon will be there. That would be awesome. Or, we have Instagram, Facebook. If you have ideas of what you want to see, or a question you have, or episode idea you think would be fun, or
we'll both be responding to things on Facebook, but also on our Patreon, we're going to have some live Q&As, and Logan's got some good ideas about some fun things that we're going to do, just bonus material. I'm also going to do what I'm going to call shorts, which is just I write a newsletter article for our church each week, and it's usually something about how do we integrate biblical principles into our lives, and so I'll take those articles and turn them into videos. We'll put those up on Patreon as bonus material as well.
Yeah, and I've got dumb ideas for improv games and word games and stupid
fun
stuff.
With Logan.
Yeah, fun with Logan. It's gonna be good. You can only get there from Patreon, so jump in.
If you're watching this, it's April 1st, and we're launching with 4 episodes. This one plus 1 faith episode, 1 family episode, and 1 fun episode as well. So you can get a taste for each one, and then you can expect something every 10 days after that, the 10th, the 20th, and the 30th to follow. So Logan, thank you for doing this with me. Thanks for taking this journey with me. And I don't know if you read the fine print, but we're in this for the long haul. We're doing this for at least 2 years before we give up on it. So
sounds good. I didn't sign anything, but that's not how it works around here. I signed up the moment I said, Yes.
Yeah. You said,
all
sure,
the
that sounds
hidden
good.
fine print.
That's right. Hey, I figure you got some paying back to do for all the times I've fed you.
Oh man, probably hundreds of thousands of.
Yeah, that's going to turn into a 10-year contract. So let's
Like
see,
a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah, I fed you for 18 years. You owe me at least half of that back. So I'll
Hey,
settle for 9.
I fed you for a couple of those years. Let's be real, okay? I did a lot of cooking in our house.
Yeah. Yeah, you became a little Wolfgang Puck there at the last couple of years, but I still had to buy the food though. So
yeah, and you had to cut the steak and put it in your mouth. I mean that's
exactly.
the hardest part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
for
didn't
sure.
share it for me.
You deserve everything that you're gonna get. That's for sure.
Yeah. So. All right, man. So that does it for our first episode of Sundays and Side Quests. Thank you for joining us. We hope you'll stick around as we look for, just straight talk about faith, family, and the fun that we have between Sundays.
For now, check out our next 3 episodes. Look forward to our release schedule. That's 10th, 20th, and 30th of each month. Guess we'll sign off. Do you think they pay those cats a wage to produce poop coffee?
Oh, that's disgusting.